And welcome back here to Live Now from Fox. I'm Andrew Kraft. Well, there is somewhat of a breaking news story percolating all over social media, and it all got started with a post on Instagram from former FBI Director James Comey. I want to put the post up here. It's a photo on the beach, and you can see there, this was reposted by a Trump administration official. It says 8647 in stones in the sand. And Comey posted this with the caption, "Cool shell formation on my beach walk." All right, so now this has garnered some backlash, to say the least, on social media. 47, of course, possibly a reference to President Trump as the 47th president. And 86 as well, which kind of in common parlance, it is somewhat of a numerical idiom, meaning to get rid of. And so there are quite some lofty interpretations of this online that essentially James Comey was saying 86 President Trump. And so there is a follow-up because James Comey did post this in response after he deleted the photo. He said, "I posted earlier a picture of some shells I saw today on a beach walk, which I assumed were a political message. I didn't realize some folks associate those numbers with violence. It never occurred to me, but I oppose violence of any kind, so I took the post down." So Comey acknowledging the kind of rocks there were political in nature in that numerical formation, but he's saying he didn't realize some folks associate those numbers with violence, specifically 86. And he said, "It never occurred to me, but I oppose violence of any kind, so I took the post down." Now, numerous White House officials are weighing in on this, including spokesperson for the president, Taylor Buttigieg, saying while President Trump is currently on an international trip to the Middle East, the former FBI director puts out what can clearly be interpreted as a hit on the sitting president of the United States, a message etched in the sand. This is deeply concerning to all of us and is being taken seriously. Also, he says, it's worth noting, the assassination threat follows President Trump's historic Saudi speech where he declared the demise of the neocons and nation builders, saying American leadership has been restored and peace is on the horizon. This has left the deep state desperate and dangerous. Comey is only the latest and most disturbing example of them lashing out through threats of violence, says Buttigieg there. So Buttigieg is, I believe, a special assistant to President Trump. In the meantime, Buttigieg also goes on to say this: Democrats must condemn these threats, not stoke them. We will remain vigilant and unafraid. Well, now Trump cabinet officials are weighing in, including DHS Secretary Kristi Noem, saying this: disgraced former FBI Director James Comey just called for the assassination of Trump. DHS and Secret Service is investigating this threat and will respond appropriately. So, Secretary Noem taking it that far. FBI Director Kash Patel saying, we're aware of the recent social media post by former FBI Director James Comey directed at President Trump. We're in communication with the Secret Service and Director Curran. Primary jurisdiction is with Secret Service on these matters, and we, the FBI, will provide all necessary support. So you see there this somewhat politically innocuous post now being considered a grave, credible threat against President Trump's life by his own DHS secretary and by his own FBI director. Now, you'll remember James Comey was serving as FBI director when President Trump was elected for the first time in 2016. President Trump at that time in 2017 famously fired Comey for his work and his role on the Russia collusion investigation. And now James Comey is in the news yet again with this post on Instagram that has now been taken down. I want to show it to you yet again. This was the original post. It's now been deleted. That message, those numbers in the sand, those rocks forming the numbers, 8647. Comey deleting the post, saying he didn't know it could be construed as a violent message. Nonetheless, members of the Trump administration treating it seriously as a threat against President Trump's life here. So wanted to make sure we got that in. A lot of people are talking about this right now online. If we hear more from ex-FBI Director James Comey or others in relation to this story, we'll update you.